Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a cheerful young prince. By day, he wandered the vibrant palace gardens, sparring with the towering trees and imagining grand tales. By night, he voyaged to distant kingdoms, seeking great quests and treasures, conjuring unknown worlds, and vanquishing majestic nymphs with his boundless might. He was adored by his friends, respected by his elders, and treasured by his wide circle of family and his caring parents. But upon waking, the young prince was summoned by his father, the king, and his mother, the queen, who called him to the great hall to speak of a noble and important task. "My son," the king began. His voice trembled with sorrow. "Our kingdom faces a peril that you alone can prevent. Hidden deep in a faraway land, within the grasp of the shadowy sea serpent, lies the pearl, a treatise on your inheritance and power as a future king. But if the serpent keeps it, it will grow stronger and one day rise to claim this kingdom as its own." The prince's heart leapt with both excitement and fear. "I will go, father," he said. "I will bring back the pearl." In her endearing motherly voice, the queen spoke. "No matter how far you go, remember your home and the light within you." "Fear not, my son," his father said with a heavy heart. "I'll send our best guards to watch over you and keep you safe." In her final words, his mother's voice trembled. "You're our strength and our beacon. You must go now. Take care, my son." And so the prince left the Kingdom of Light and went to fulfill his mission. The boy reached the edge of the desert, where sand met earth, and the abyss of a black door loomed before him. At his approach, the door lulled him in, and with its inviting glow, beckoned him to enter. The air was heavy and scented with honey, a cherishing touch of aroma, and an air of familiar acquaintance. As he pressed his hand to the cold door, it creaked open. Soon he was met with a gossamer wooden mansion, glowing faintly in golden light. Inside, there were people. Some shared their stories, while others listened with quiet smiles, yet all were bound by a sense of common friendship. And so he entered. The boy lingered at the entrance, bewitched by the aesthetical fest. Plates of ripe fruit and golden bread passed from hand to hand. Voices rose in soft laughter as if a dance beckoned him to join. Irresistible and with utmost tenaciousness, the boy moved into this festive trance. After the beating of the day, the boy felt setting over him a weight of exhaustion. There was still much to do tomorrow, and his body begged for a recovering rest. As he moved toward the quieter edges of the hall, away from the lively chatter and laughter of the strangers, he found a spot where the noise barely reached him. He then let out a sigh and wrapped his cloak tightly around himself. He lay down, and before long, the boy drifted into a deep slumber. The next morning he stirred awake and rose slowly. Taking a moment to gather his thoughts, the young prince adjusted his cloak and let his gaze sweep the room. As he began to move, he made his way outside. Swiftly, the early day greeted him with a gentle warmth and the lively hum of a new feast. Then he cast off his cloak without hesitation, no longer the boy he once was, to unshackle the prince, his former identity. Instantly captivated, the boy was mesmerized by the aroma of freshly baked bread and sweet, ripe fruit. He stepped into a lush garden where tables stretched under the shade of sprawling trees, and took his spot nearby. Here he felt at ease. The warmth of the people, their gluttony and hedonistic ways, soon became his. A sense of home settled over him, fresh and comforting, as if he had always belonged here, as if these people understood him better. And so the memory of the pearl, his long-forgotten mission, slipped further from his thoughts. The boy spent many days in this foreign land, but something within him stirred, an enriching emotion growing stronger with the passing of each moment. He started to miss the Kingdom of Light, the golden halls of his home, the gentle wisdom of the elders, and the familiar love of his family. It was not just the longing for a place, but simply because he was theirs, and they were his. And then, as the boy's melancholy grew, it happened. Out of nowhere, an old visitor appeared, the eagle, a messenger from the king and queen. Majestically, the bird swept down from the clouds and carried the message that the boy would use to recast his purpose. Echoed in the words were the reminiscent touch of his father and mother's words, as they spoke of how they missed him and reminded him to never forget his mission, of the pearl and his inheritance. Then, as he cast his eyes upon the horizon, he saw the serpent's lair his father had spoken of. Without hesitation, he turned away from the land of strangers, leaving behind his foreign identity. His purpose now awaited, and he set out to fulfill it. The path to the serpent's lair was steep and treacherous, and the ground beneath him was uneven and maleficent. As he ascended, the air grew colder, and the brightness of the world behind him faded with every step. The boy pressed forward. Here, his mind was fixed on the pearl and the promise he had made to his father. He was never going to forget it. He would bring back the pearl. With steady steps, he entered the lair, ready to face the serpent. A blue hue shone through the corridors, casting an eerie glow. The gleam of the ocean stretched far ahead, and he could hear the hollow echoes of the serpent's deep, rumbling snores. As he moved deeper into the lair, the blue light grew brighter, guiding him toward the final corridor. The walls seemed to shimmer like liquid glass, reflecting the faint glow of something far ahead. His heart quickened as he stepped into the room ahead. Finally, he crossed into the latter part of the lair, and there it laid, the tyrannical sea demon, the serpent. Cautiously, the boy crept closer to the glowing pearl, his hand trembling as he reached for it. He paused for a breath, then grasped it firmly. The moment his fingers wrapped around its surface, the serpent stirred. Its eyes snapped open, blazing with venom, and it reared upward with a deafening roar. The boy clutched the pearl tightly in one hand. His heart raced as he bolted, weaving through the twisting corridors. Ahead, he spotted the entrance where he had first entered the serpent's lair and ran toward it with every ounce of strength he had. As the boy stumbled out of the lair, the bright light of day stung his eyes, and the familiar sound of armor shifting broke through the pounding of his heart. Standing just beyond the entrance were the two bodyguards sent by his father. Their faces, etched with relief, softened as they spotted him clutching the pearl. "Your Highness," one of them said, bowing slightly, "we feared the worst." And so, along with the guards, he strode forward across the golden sands, the horizon beckoning him home, to his birthland, his people, and the embrace of his parents, the king and queen. Soon the boy saw the familiar land, the kingdom of light, the palace of his youth, and his home. The people of the palace first spotted the guards, and then they saw their prince. A manifold of emotion met them as they realized their precious and beloved prince returned. "Our prince is back!" they rejoiced. In a triumphant gesture, the boy held the glowing relic of his return, the ocean pearl, high for all to see. Without hesitation, he ran through the gates and into the palace, where his mother and father stood waiting. Their faces, once lined with worry, blossomed into smiles as they saw him. Their beloved son had returned, and at last, he was home. Soon after, the palace came alive with celebration. Long tables filled the grand hall, adorned with golden goblets, fragrant flowers, and endless platters of the finest foods. The people gathered in joy, their laughter and cheers echoing through the kingdom. And then the people rose, carrying a cloak woven with gold threads that shimmered in the light of the hall. As the fellows draped it over the prince's shoulders, the king spoke with pride. "This is your mantle, a symbol of our gift to you, our son. Wear it, and know that you are the true custodian of the pearl, the guardian of this kingdom's light." The feast continued into the night, filled with music and joy, a celebration that seemed to stretch into eternity. The kingdom of light was safe once more, and the boy, now a king, would ensure it would remain so for generations to come.